You started. Again. You felt that surge, that clarity, that new sense of direction. You mapped out the goals. You committed to the plan. You were focused, maybe even a little obsessed. For a few days a week sometimes, even a whole month. And then, something happened. Not something huge, not some disaster. Just a small internal discomfort, resistance, a shift in energy, a rising doubt, a flicker of anxiety, or boredom, or distraction. And you didn't even realize it, but something inside you said too much, too hard, too long, I need relief. And so you backed off. Just a little. You skipped a day. You took it easy. You let yourself off the hook. You said, I'll get back to it tomorrow. And that tomorrow slowly became never again. And now you're here, watching this, wondering why you keep losing momentum, why you can't stay consistent, why you can start strong but never finish. And the answer is brutally simple. You never held the tension. You see, most people think momentum is about speed, about movement, about doing more. But real momentum isn't built by constant motion. It's built by consistent tension. The ability to sit in discomfort without running. The ability to feel the pressure and not relieve it too early. Because what you call burnout is often just a resistance to holding the uncomfortable middle. That space between the beginning and the breakthrough. That's the space where most people quit. Not because they're incapable, but because they've been trained to avoid tension. But what if that tension wasn't the problem? What if that tension was the birthplace of your next level? Carl Jung said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain," and he meant it literally. Consciousness. The ability to choose your direction, to act from the self instead of your wounds, is born in the furnace of tension. Because it's in that space where your old identity is trying to die, and your new self hasn't fully emerged yet, that your system panics. You feel exposed, uncertain, unproven. Your habits don't feel natural. Your confidence hasn't stabilized. Your body wants to return to the known. And in that exact moment, you reach for relief. You check your phone. You self-soothe with dopamine. You scroll, snack, watch, avoid. And just like that, you abort the process. You interrupt the transformation. You break the tension that was about to give birth to something bigger. But what if you didn't? What if you sat in that fire? What if instead of interpreting tension as a signal to stop, you saw it as a signal that something powerful is about to emerge? Let's go deeper. In Jungian psychology, the process of individuation, becoming a whole integrated self, requires tension between opposites, between your persona and your shadow, between who you've been and who you're becoming, between desire and discipline, between control and surrender. The ego wants comfort, but the self, the real you, wants expansion, and expansion requires tension, because energy must build before it transforms. Think about it. Muscles grow, not during the lift, but during the resistance. Diamonds are formed under pressure. A bow only launches an arrow when it's pulled tight. The same is true for your inner life. Without sustained tension, nothing breaks through. But here's the truth. Most of us have been trained to fear tension. We associate it with failure. We see pressure as danger. We were never taught how to hold intensity without cracking, so we leak it. Through quick relief, through self-sabotage, through premature celebration, through starting a new project instead of finishing the old one, through escaping into stimulation. And so, we stay in the loop. Start-stop. Begin-withdraw. Passion burnout. And every time we quit, we lose more than momentum. We lose trust in ourselves. And that erosion of self-trust becomes the deepest tension of all. So how do you change it? You train your nervous system to hold more tension without flinching. You expand your capacity to feel uncomfortable without needing to escape. You rewire your association with pressure, and it begins with awareness. Every time you feel the urge to back off, to quit, to delay, pause. Don't push through blindly. Instead, get still. Ask yourself, what am I trying to escape from right now? Most of the time, it's not pain, it's uncertainty. You're not exhausted, you're emotionally exposed, and your system craving the old safety is trying to pull you back. That's the moment you breathe, deep, slow. You feel the tension, and you don't move. You name it. You don't need to fix it. Just feel it. Let it build. Trust it. Because on the other side of that pressure is power. Real power. Not the hype kind. The quiet, anchored kind. The kind that doesn't come from motivation, but from mastery. Now let's make this practical. Here's a daily practice every morning. Write down one tension you are willing to hold today. Maybe it's the tension of not checking your phone before noon. Maybe it's the tension of staying with a hard task for one more hour. Maybe it's the tension of silence in a conversation instead of filling it with words. Maybe it's the tension of not reacting to a trigger. Hold it. Time it. See how long you can stay in that space without escaping. This is your training. This is how you recondition your system to see tension as a sign of growth, not danger. Another practice before starting a new habit or goal. Identify the tension zones. Where will the discomfort hit? What days will the resistance come? What inner voices will rise? Name them ahead of time. Create a plan, not for action, but for holding. That's what most systems miss. They focus on what to do, but the real growth is in what not to escape. Also, stop quitting early. You think you're being intuitive. You think you're listening to your body, but often you're just bailing on pressure that was about to break you through. Your body isn't weak. It's just been trained to associate newness with threat. And your job is to gently but firmly teach it otherwise. Through repetition, through stillness, through presence. And yes, this will be uncomfortable at first. But then something happens. You start to notice that the tension doesn't kill you, that you can stay in it, that you can even breathe in it. And then you stop fearing it. You even start to welcome it. Because you realize this is where your edge lives. This is where the new self is forged. Carl Jung wrote that the greatest transformations happen when we integrate opposites, not avoid them. The tension between desire and fear, between action and rest, between discipline and emotion, between masculine and feminine. That's not a flaw. That's the alchemy. And the men who rise are the ones who learn to hold that alchemy long enough for it to transform them. So, next time you feel that familiar urge to quit, don't. Pause. Breathe. Stay. Let the tension stretch you. Let it teach you. Let it shape you. You are not breaking. You are becoming. What's one tension you keep avoiding? And what would change if you committed to holding it instead of escaping? Share it below. This is where we stop quitting early. This is where we reclaim momentum. See you in the next video, and this time, don't let go when it gets uncomfortable. That's where the power is.